So this morning when I walked into my kitchen, there was an unpleasant smell, and after doing the usual things like taking out the trash and putting a lemon down the garbage disposal didn't work, I tried looking under the sink to find sitting water that was causing the smell. Unfortunately, when I looked a little further, I found that my garbage disposal was leaking. So, just what I wanted to do this morning, but fortunately, it's not a hard task, it's not a long task. So I went down and bought my garbage disposal and we're gonna install it. You can do this too. You don't need to hire a plumber to do it. If you can hold a hammer and a screwdriver, you can get this done. I'll show you how. The tools I'm going to need include a hammer, a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, a 3/8 socket, a 5/16 socket, a nut driver or ratchet, some wire strippers, and a light source so you can see what you're doing. You might also want a towel to catch any drips. The overall job is broken down into 3 phases: removing the old garbage disposal, preparing the new disposal unit, and then installing it. Let's get started with removing the old disposal. First, disconnect the power supply by unplugging it. If it's hardwired, you'll need to disconnect the power at the circuit breaker. Second, disconnect the dishwasher drain and the disposal drain from the disposal. The 5/16 nut driver was perfect for removing the clamp, and as you can see, it can take a little bit of extra effort to remove the plumbing from the disposal, so don't be timid when you're separating the lines. Use the 3/8 nut driver to remove the disposal drain. Be sure to loosen both sides. Then you should be able to use your fingers to remove the bolts the rest of the way. Separate the drain line from the disposal by loosening the drain line fitting. Lastly, remove the disposal from the sink's drain. Using a screwdriver and a hammer, gently but firmly loosen the disposal's collar. Once the collar is loose, I can disconnect it by hand, and as you can see, the unit is heavy, so be sure to support it, unlike what I did. Oops! Now it's time for our second phase, preparing the new disposal. I do this by removing the plug's wiring from the old unit to use in the new one. If your wiring is damaged, such as having any cuts in the wire's insulation, you should get a new wiring kit, which is available at your local hardware store. It should run between $10 and $12. I begin by removing the white plastic wire clamp, which protects the wire from cutting along the edge of the disposal unit. I'm going to save this because I'll need it for the new unit. It's possible that the one on your unit is metal, in which case you simply unscrew it. I then remove the cover plate to get access to the electrical connections. It's a good idea to label the neutral wire with blue tape for future reference. It's the one connected to the white wire. Go ahead and remove the wire nuts. And unscrew the ground wire. Separate the wires and remove them from the old disposal unit. Now it's time to go to work on the new disposal unit. This hole is for the dishwasher drain. If you have a dishwasher that drains through your disposal unit, you must remove the plastic plug that is manufactured into the disposal. If you don't, the dishwasher won't drain and you'll have a mess on your hands. On the other hand, if you do not have a dishwasher, you can skip this step. Because I have a dishwasher that drains through the disposal, I need to remove the plug by using a screwdriver and a hammer to knock it out. Once I've got it out, I make sure to completely remove it from the disposal and throw it away. It's that easy. Now I reconnect the electrical following the same steps as when I disconnected it. I found it easier to work with wires that have been clipped and stripped using a wire stripper. Using the wire stripper, cut the wire right next to the insulation. Then move down about a ½ inch and use the stripper to cut the insulation and strip it away, revealing the new wire. Twist the wire to make it easier to work with. Remove the cover plate from the new disposal unit. Remove the green ground wire screw from the unit. And then slide the wire bundle into the unit through the round hole. Now it's time to reconnect our wires. Pull the black and white wires out of the new unit and match them up with the correct wires from the wire bundle. Remember, the white wire connects to the wire with the blue tape. Connect the wires using the wire nuts. Line up the wires next to each other, cover with the wire nut, then screw the wire nut into place until it feels snug. You should be able to tug on the wires to ensure they aren't loose. Tuck the wires down into the disposal unit. And then connect the ground, which is the green wire, and fasten the cover plate. Finish by securing the wire with the white plastic wire clamp that I'm recycling from the old unit. The last step in preparing the new disposal is to place the rubber O-ring gasket inside the drain hole like this. It's time to move on to the final phase and install the disposal under the sink. Because I'm replacing the disposal with the same make and model as my old unit, and because my sink's drain is in good shape, I don't need to remove the old drain and install a new one. I align my disposal with the drain holes facing the drain lines, lift it into place, and screw the collar into place. A few light whacks with the hammer puts the collar where it needs to go. You can also use a slip joint pliers to snug the collar into place. To connect the drains to the disposal, begin with the lower drain and fasten it to the disposal unit. Be sure not to tighten down either side until both bolts are installed most of the way. Then secure the bolts completely until they are snug, but not over-tightened. Tighten the threaded pipe fitting to secure the drain pipe in place. Place the dishwasher drain over the drain hole and then secure the metal clamp until it's snug. Now, just plug in the disposal, turn on the water to check for leaks, and then turn on the disposal to check for proper operation. Wasn't that easy? Sure, there are a few steps, but if you break it down into removing the old disposal, preparing the new one, and then installing the new disposal, it really isn't all that complicated. Because we know that things in our homes break, it's important to know how to take care of them. And now you have the knowledge and the confidence to replace your disposal if it should break. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. In the meantime, make it a great day.